This is my review of Mr.Monk and the Very, Very Old Man. This was requested by a friend of mine on Facebook, so let's jump right in. Okay, I'm not very much big on the murder mystery plot. I think the story is a lot more interesting when you look at it from the Leland and Monk perspective, and here's why. First of all, Leland and Monk get into fights, and we've all seen Leland and Monk get into fights. If you've read the books, if you've seen all the episodes, you know Leland and Monk are friends, but you know there's an old saying that says don't run with your best friend. This shows you why. And the thing is, neither one of them are comfortable, and by the middle of the episode you find out they both want to move out, and they don't want to hurt each other's feelings, and it's really funny, and it really adds to the stress of what's already going on. And then you also see the whole Leland's compromises, which I don't know about you, but that's one of my favorite parts about the Monk-Leland relationship. Is Monk's all eccentric, and Leland doesn't want to deal with it, but he has to deal with it. And then he ends with his age-old phrase, "If you do this, I'll shoot you." Which, in this case, it's, "Monk, if you come in here and mess with my alarm clock, I'll shoot you." The second thing that I think was really impressive was the guest stars. The first thing is Glenn Hadley. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right or not, but in this episode of Monk, she portrays Leland's wife. But she played Simone Bryce, probably my second favorite defense attorney on Law & Order SVU. I'm sorry, Ballfist in the episode Non-Compliance, Season 2, Episode 6, Law & Order SVU, tops every defense attorney. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the episode, and I think you'll know what I'm talking about. And she also plays Lola's moms in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Gwen, she's really interesting because she has this really calm, mellow yoga voice. And she always talks like this, but even more soft. And all that. And the second thing, which if you're a Psych fan, you'll really like this, is that Kurt Fuller, aka Woody the Coroner, is in this episode. And to me, he's a pretty good actor. It's kind of interesting to see him play a non-disturbed role in this episode of Monk. I mean, in Psych, Woody's kind of, everybody knows he's a nutcase. He's crazy. He steals from a corpse. He ends up in bed with Lassiter in the episode Last Night, Gus. Then Lassiter gets up and he's like, "Oh, come back to bed, Peaches." To go back and watch this episode of Monk, and I'm like, oh, that's Woody. And then, also in this episode of Monk, there is a snake. Well, actually, there's three snakes named Larry, Mel, and Curly. Enough said. But one of them escapes, and a lot of people remember this episode because one of them escapes. And I always think it's funny because the entire episode there's a joke about, oh, is it Curly? Maybe it's Mo. And then of course Leland bringing out a bag that has nothing in it and claiming that the snake's in it. And Monk's like, oh, let me see the bag. And Leland's like, just get in here. The only other interesting thing in this episode was the Trudy reference. It just made things more interesting, and it complicated things between Monk and Leland because everything in Monk's house is at a perfect 90-degree angle. And so Leland sees his coffee table. It's all jacked up, and he's like, oh, I'm going to do something nice for Monk. I'm going to push it back and make it 90 degrees. And then Monk pushes it back to its jacked up position, and then back, and then forth, and then back, and then forth. It was just really interesting to see, and it also gives you a glimpse of what Monk and Trudy's life was like, because you see Trudy, Monk gets tired, and so Trudy's like, oh, you're tired, here, and she pulls the coffee table closer to her legs, puts her feet up, lets him lay his head on her lap, and then she just reads her book while he's sleeping. So, that's it for this episode.